there seem to be two scenarios using Divi and Jetpack's Publicize to social media settings that create a problem. If you want to schedule a post to publish in the future and you use a Divi layout in the blog post, so a blog post gets a Divi layout applied to it, whether you're building that from scratch or you're bringing it in from the Divi template library, when you bring that in and later hit schedule, WordPress is going to get confused and it's going to publish that post to social media immediately and cause problems. Here's one of the scenarios and how it happens. A couple things before I begin. I'm looking at creating a new post in WordPress. Separately, I have the activity log open in WordPress. I'm going to track the activity. I've done a few of these already and figuring out the different scenarios where this happens. I'm going to give this blog post a simple name, and this is going to post over to my Twitter account here when the time comes. So this is the name, and I only want this to go to my Twitter account because I've got quick and easy access to delete it there. So here we go. I'm going to simply use the Divi builder to create a post and let that load up for a second. Sometimes it's faster than others. And I'm just going to start building. Add a row. Add some text. This is a super simple template and probably not a reason to use Divi on a blog post. So at this point, we're ready to hit schedule. And to do that, we want to schedule it out. I'm going to do about 2 minutes into the future. Just enough time for me to change the scheduling button, but not have to wait forever as I pause this video and get things going. So as that's saving, okay, the page is refreshing. We can see the bar and the address, the blue bar and the address bar starting to fill up. There it goes. Now, this is scheduled and should not have posted to social media yet. But as you can see, it did. It posted there 19 seconds ago. So we have a scheduled post, not published, posting over to social media. And if I were to copy that link and open it into a private window where I'm not logged in, the resulting problem that we'll get is a 404 error because it's not published yet. So we don't want that. Also, similarly, if I come over here to the activity log and refresh this, we'll see that the post was published and then modified and then scheduled. Something in these steps here of modifying, changing it to Divi temporarily flashes it through a published status, at least in terms of what Publicize Jetpack thinks. So we don't want that, do we? We don't want to send things out to social media that result in 404 errors or anything like that. So I'm going to trash that blog post, delete the tweet of our test, and start from scratch. That is the problem. How do you fix that? That's the next step. I have this post. It's scheduled. It's actually scheduled for 12:53. However, it showed up right after it was scheduled as a published post in Twitter through Jetpack Publicize. This does not happen when I don't use a Divi library template. If I attempt to click on this link in a private window, it gives me the 404 because it's not yet published. So something with the Divi library is, as I import a template in from a Divi library into a post to be scheduled in the future, brings in some settings that makes WordPress get confused and think that it's already published. Here you see this weird little scenario where it gets imported in. This is the activity log in WordPress, since this is connected via Jetpack. So it temporarily shows it as published, then it gets modified and changes into a scheduled status. Here's a process that works for scheduling a post using a Divi template from the Divi library. So in this example, I'm going to schedule a post using the Jetpack Publicize tool. I'm going to send it to Twitter. I'm just going to give it a basic name real quickly. I'm scheduling a test of a Divi scheduled post. And when I do this, I'm going to first create it as a WordPress post and then add the Divi template at the end. So, step one, I need to come in and schedule this post sometime in the future. So, just to be careful, because I don't know exactly when I want to schedule it, I'm going to give myself an hour. Hit OK. And come down here and I'm going to schedule. Now this is the same as saving or updating. Schedule does two things. It schedules and saves this initial post. It gives it a name and all sorts of metadata goes into the MySQL database. Now at this point we want to use Divi and we want to use a template. So I'm going to click the purple Use the Divi Builder button. Take a second to load that in. Don't want to use really any of these. I'm just going to hit Start Building. Close this. Don't hit the Add from Library there. I want to get a full post template. In this case, I'm going to hit the plus button to load it from the library and go to My Saved Layouts. In this case, we have one here. I'm going to load that in. Now, if I were to do all of this first and then hit Schedule, that library item, that template from the library, would add some metadata, it seems, or it creates this saving step as it brings it in, which would trigger a temporarily publish microsecond of a thing of this post, and we don't want that. So currently this is scheduled now for about an hour into the future. I want to walk that back to 2 minutes into the future so that I can see the results. Hit update. Saving my work. Now, since we are using Jetpack, there's an activity tracker, a thing that tracks all the activity on a WordPress site. It's not instant. It lags behind actual activity by a few seconds to a minute or so. And I have this open in a new tab. If you go into WordPress.com and you connect with your site, you pick your site there, and then click Activity. Under Tools, we'll see these things here, and I'm going to refresh the page, and we can see what I've just done. I've just scheduled a post. That was before I put the template in, and then I made some updates. That's what happened when I added that template in, and we can even see some of the modifications that happened there to a certain extent. That post was scheduled to go at 8 minutes after the hour, and it's going to post to this Twitter feed when it happens. I'm just going to refresh that. You can see that it's not there yet. I'm going to pause the video while it catches up. Okay, so time should have passed or real close to it, so I'm going to try refreshing the page. There's the post. If I go into activity, remember this lags just a little bit, but it does now show that this was published. Even though I said it at 11:08, it seems that the timestamps that we get here are about a minute after, somewhere in there. Might be rounding up or something. So there's one way to schedule things and avoid the problem of things publicizing over to a social media account through Jetpack when you don't want them to, because you're working off of a template from the Divi library.